Ever felt a void so deep it echoes, even in a room full of voices? That lonely ache, whispering you're not enough, daring you to face the silence within. Miyamoto Musashi, Japan's greatest swordsman, knew that storm. Unbeaten in over 60 duels, he faced his fiercest battle alone. In 1645, days before his death, Musashi wrote Dokkodo, The Way of Walking Alone. Just 21 short principles, not about fighting, but about living. A guide to find strength in solitude, to strip away illusions, and to forge your true self. He chose the quiet, not to hide, but to uncover clarity and power. Dokkodo shows you the key. Embrace the silence. Don't flee it. It's not your cage, it's your forge. In that stillness, you rebuild, release what holds you back, and discover who you're meant to be. Solitude is where your purpose takes root. Don't wait. Step into the quiet today. Take 5 minutes. No distractions, just you. Listen to your heart. Let Musashi's wisdom light your path. Your journey through solitude begins now. Will you take the first step? Chapter 1. A Silent Storm. You don't really know yourself until the room goes quiet. Miyamoto Musashi. Have you ever sat in a room full of silence and felt like the quiet was screaming at you? No distractions, no phone buzzing, no one to talk to, just you. And suddenly, you're faced with a storm you've been avoiding, your own thoughts. That moment when you're alone, not by accident, but by life's design. That's where the quiet becomes the loudest sound you've ever heard. It's disorienting, it's raw, and it's honest. Most people run from it because silence, real silence, doesn't just remove noise. It removes illusions. It strips you bare. But here's the truth. That is where your real self is waiting. Not in the noise. Not in the applause. Not in the comfort of someone else's arms. But in the storm you keep avoiding inside your own soul. One man understood this better than anyone. A warrior, a philosopher, a master of solitude. Miyamoto Musashi, born in 1584, in a time of war and chaos, Musashi became the greatest swordsman Japan had ever known. He won over 60 duels, many of them to the death. But his greatest victory was never over an opponent. It was over himself. At the end of his life, Musashi wrote a final work, not about swordsmanship, not about how to kill, but about how to live. It was called Dokkodo, The Way of Walking Alone. And in just 21 principles, he offered a blueprint for inner power through solitude, discipline, and detachment. One of those principles reads, "You may abandon your own body, but you must preserve your honor." Think about that. In a world where everything is about protecting the outside, our looks, our image, our status, Musashi reminds us to protect what truly matters: our integrity, our values, our truth. He chose a life of intentional solitude, not because he hated people, but because he knew that clarity, wisdom, and strength are forged in silence. So I want to ask you something. When was the last time you let yourself be truly alone? Not lonely, not ignored, not abandoned, but alone with your breath, your heartbeat, your thoughts. When was the last time you turned the noise off and tuned in? Because here's the uncomfortable truth. Most of us don't fear loneliness. We fear meeting ourselves in silence and not liking who we find. But that's exactly where transformation begins. Not when you escape the silence, but when you embrace it. In the next part, we'll explore how Musashi used solitude not to escape the world, but to rebuild himself from the inside out. Because maybe the thing you've been running from is the very place your power is hiding. Chapter 2. The Quiet Rebuild. Perception is strong and sight is weak. In strategy, it is important to see distant things as if they were close, and to take a distanced view of close things. Miyamoto Musashi. When the noise stops, the rebuilding begins. Most people think solitude is an ending, a collapse, a failure, a break. But Musashi saw it as a beginning, a strategy. He didn't withdraw to escape life. He withdrew to understand it. After years of battle and victory, Musashi did something rare. He stopped fighting others and began to confront himself. He lived in a cave, alone, not because he lost, but because he had won enough to realize the real battle is internal. And that's where many of us are now. You fought your own wars, maybe not with swords, but with heartbreak, failure, burnout, disappointment. You've been wounded by love, misunderstood by family, or even abandoned by life itself. And now, you're here, in the silence. So now the question isn't, why am I alone? The question is, what can I build from here? Loneliness is not the enemy, it's the environment. And what you build in solitude, that becomes your new foundation. Because here's the truth that most people never tell you. The world will always try to build on you. It will shape your thoughts with trends, your emotions with headlines, your beliefs with the loudest voice in the room. But when you step back into stillness, you start to remember who you were before the world told you who to be. Musashi's solitude wasn't passive. It was purposeful. He trained in stillness. He disciplined his mind. He let go of everything that wasn't essential. One of his most powerful lines in the Dokkodo is this: do not hold on to possessions you no longer need. And that doesn't just mean things. It means the stories you tell yourself about your worth. It means the relationships that drain you. It means the habits you outgrew but never let go of. It means guilt, shame, regret, anything you carry that's not helping you walk forward. Let's be honest. Rebuilding in silence is hard. It's slow. It's uncomfortable. But it's also pure. It's you, in raw form, shaping something new. No audience. No applause. Just quiet, steady work. Like a sculptor chiseling away everything that's not needed. You start carving your life out of stillness. And you begin to ask questions that only silence can answer. Who am I when no one is looking? What am I truly proud of? Not performatively, but privately. What's worth carrying into my future? And what needs to be in the past? Musashi teaches us that detachment is not coldness, it's clarity. Do not seek pleasure for its own sake. Be indifferent to where you live. Do not pursue the taste of good food. He wasn't advocating for suffering. He was inviting us to strip life down to what actually matters. Not luxury, not comfort, not ego, but truth, presence, purpose. So how do you begin rebuilding? Start with silence, even 5 minutes a day. Let the mind stop sprinting. Let the soul speak. Then move to reflection journaling, meditation, even just noticing your emotions without judgment. And finally, intention. Make choices from the still place, not the desperate place. You don't need to change your whole life overnight. You just need to build differently now, brick by brick, value by value, boundary by boundary. Because here's the quiet secret of solitude. It doesn't break you. It reveals you. And once you see what you're truly made of in silence, no noise can drown you again. Chapter 3. Detachment as Strength. You've sat in the silence. You've started the quiet rebuild. And now, you begin to let go. But here's the hard part. We don't just hold on to things because they're good. We hold on to them because they're familiar. That's what Musashi understood long before modern psychology put words to it. He knew to live clearly, you must let go courageously. Do not, under any circumstances, depend on a partial feeling. Miyamoto Musashi. What does that mean? It means don't cling to half-truths. Don't stay in almost love. Don't build your life on maybes just because you're afraid of empty space. We all fear the void, the moment when you're no longer the person you used to be, but you're not yet the person you're becoming. That space in between, it's terrifying. And so, we grasp. We grasp for validation. We grasp for old relationships that don't nurture us. We grasp for opinions, identities, roles, anything to not feel that cold breath of nothingness. But detachment, real detachment, is not about becoming numb. It's about becoming true. Musashi practiced detachment not to escape emotion, but to master it. He didn't numb himself to life. He simply refused to be owned by it. Be detached from desire your whole life long. Desire isn't wrong, but unchecked desire, that's the root of every cycle you're trying to escape. The need to be seen, the hunger for status, the endless chase for more. These are the chains. And Musashi was not a man who lived in chains. Detachment is a recalibration, a shifting of the lens from what can I get to what truly matters. When you detach, you don't become cold. You become focused. You stop mistaking noise for value. You stop mistaking attention for love. You stop mistaking productivity for worth. So how do we practice this kind of strength in our world? A world that's always selling something to your heart? Here are 3 Musashi-inspired principles to carry forward. 1. Let go of what no longer serves your path. That might be an old friendship. That might be an outdated version of yourself. That might even be a dream you've outgrown. Detachment isn't rejection. It's release. You are not betraying the past by walking forward. You are honoring it by becoming who it helped shape. 2. See clearly, not sentimentally. Musashi said, perceive that which cannot be seen with the eye. This is the art of seeing beyond the surface, beyond appearances, beyond assumptions. Detach from your first emotions. Look again, then act from a grounded place. 3. Stand where it's quiet. You can't detach if you never pause. If you're always reacting, you're always entangled. Create space. Daily, even just 10 minutes. In that space, ask, what am I holding on to that I've outgrown? What am I afraid to lose that's already gone? What do I actually value? Not what I've been told to value. Detachment isn't isolation. It's alignment. It's choosing what's real over what's easy. It's having the discipline to release what no longer fits your future, even if it once saved you in the past. Musashi's life was a series of letting go. He let go of attachments. He let go of comfort. He let go of approval. And in that emptying, he became whole. What are you willing to release so that you can finally become yourself? Chapter 4. The Mirror of Loneliness. When you stand alone, what do you see in the mirror? Loneliness. It's the one emotion many of us avoid, the one we fear the most. And yet, loneliness is not the enemy. It is the mirror we need to face. If you've ever felt the sting of isolation, you know it. The hollow ache of not feeling seen, understood, or loved. That gnawing emptiness, as if something is missing, and you can't quite figure out what it is. But here's the truth Musashi learned through decades of silence, solitude, and introspection. Loneliness is not a punishment. It's a reflection. It shows you what you've been avoiding. In the void, there is clarity. Miyamoto Musashi. When we are alone, we face ourselves, for better or worse. And it is in this silence, in the stillness of solitude, that we see who we really are, without the distractions, without the noise. For many, loneliness is a reflection of the self. It asks you, who are you when no one else is around? What do you truly want when the world isn't telling you what you should want? The question isn't why you're lonely. The question is, what does your loneliness show you about yourself? 1. Loneliness is the call to meet yourself. You've heard the phrase, you have to love yourself before you can love others. Sounds cliche, doesn't it? But the truth is, you cannot run from yourself forever. Musashi spent years in solitude because he knew this deep truth. By facing his loneliness head-on, he discovered his weaknesses, his doubts, his fears, and in doing so, he built his greatest strength. When you face your loneliness, you are not only confronting the emptiness around you, you are confronting the emptiness within you. And this confrontation is not a sign of weakness. It is the moment where you choose to grow. 2. Loneliness reveals what needs healing. When you're alone, it's easy for old wounds to surface. Feelings of abandonment, unhealed hurt from past relationships, regrets that still whisper to you. But here's the gift in this pain. It's an invitation to heal. Musashi understood this. He didn't hide from the emptiness. He leaned into it. He allowed solitude to be the space where healing happened, where he worked through his past, where he built the strength to move forward. Loneliness is the space where you confront the things you've buried, and the act of confronting is the beginning of your healing. 3. Loneliness shows you what you truly desire. Sometimes, We fill our lives with people, noise, distractions, just so we don't have to ask the hard questions. But when we're alone, we can't hide. Musashi, through his solitary life, discovered something profound. What we seek out there, in the world, in people, in success, is often what we need to find within. Loneliness, at its core, is about uncovering what you've always wanted. What drives you, not just to survive, but to thrive. What are your true desires when you strip away all the external demands? In those moments of solitude, you'll hear your own voice clearly. It may be quiet at first, but it will get louder, and you'll begin to realize that loneliness is the door to knowing what you truly seek. 4. Loneliness allows you to become the observer. When you're alone, you finally have the space to observe without interference. You can observe your thoughts, your reactions, your habits, and start to see them for what they are. This is where Musashi's wisdom shines brightest. In the silence of his solitude, he could observe the world, observe his own actions, and learn to master them. Loneliness is not just about being without others. It's about being with yourself and learning to navigate your inner world. This is where your growth happens, where you shed the illusions of the past and begin to create a new path, one that's entirely your own. So, ask yourself, what does your loneliness show you? Does it reveal the parts of you that are ready to be healed? Does it expose desires you've been ignoring? Does it call you to step up and face the parts of yourself that are still afraid? The truth is, loneliness is always a choice. It's not just an external condition. It's something that begins within you. It's a choice to look inward, to examine the places you've been avoiding, to ask the hard questions, and to face yourself not with judgment, but with compassion. Musashi didn't run from the mirror of his loneliness. He embraced it, and in doing so, he unlocked a wisdom that was far more powerful than any sword he could wield. Because the greatest battles we fight aren't on the outside, they're within. Chapter 5. The Path to Restoration. When we embrace loneliness and allow it to teach us, we begin a process of transformation. It's not easy, but nothing truly worth having ever is. In Chapter 4, we spoke about how loneliness acts as a mirror, showing us parts of ourselves that we may not want to face. But this is where the journey truly begins. When you take the first step toward restoration, the first step, acceptance. Before any transformation can happen, you must first accept where you are. I know, it's difficult. When you're deep in loneliness, it can feel like the world is a cold and indifferent place. You might ask, why me? Why am I alone? But Musashi understood something critical in his time of solitude. He didn't resist the stillness. He didn't fight the feeling of being alone. Instead, he accepted it. And it was through that acceptance that he began to rebuild. Acceptance doesn't mean giving up. It means acknowledging where you are in this moment, without judgment, without shame. You might be in a place of deep loneliness today, but that doesn't define you. It's only the beginning of your journey, not the end. The second step, rebuilding from within. Once you've accepted your solitude, the next step is to begin rebuilding from within, just as Musashi did when he turned inward during his years of isolation. When Musashi was alone, he didn't waste his time complaining. He didn't despair over what he didn't have. Instead, he focused on what he could control. He honed his mind. He developed his philosophy. He learned from the silence, allowing it to nurture his wisdom. You can do the same. Start small. Perhaps it's setting aside a few minutes each day for self-reflection, a moment where you sit with yourself and simply be. Or it could be reading a book that helps you grow, or learning a new skill that brings you joy. What Musashi knew is that growth begins in the quiet moments. And while we may crave connection with others, the first and most important connection is the one you build with yourself. The third step, letting go. To heal from loneliness, you must also let go. Let go of the things that keep you bound to the past. Let go of the resentment, the regrets, the old wounds that you continue to carry. In his Dokkodo, Musashi encourages us to let go of attachments. Do not hold on to possessions you no longer need. This is more than just material possessions. It's about mental and emotional clutter too. It's about shedding the baggage of past relationships that no longer serve you, the judgments you've placed on yourself, the fears that keep you small. The act of letting go is not easy, but it's a necessary step toward healing. When you release what no longer serves you, you create space. Space for growth, for new connections, and for the strength to rise above your past. The fourth step, embrace your own strength. One of the most powerful things Musashi teaches us is to trust in our own strength. He didn't rely on the opinions of others to define his worth. He didn't wait for someone else to make him feel whole. He knew that the power to shape his life was within him. In the quiet moments of loneliness, you too will discover your own inner strength. It's the quiet resilience that rises when you least expect it. The strength to get back up when you've been knocked down. The courage to keep moving forward when all feels lost. Remember, you are not weak feeling lonely. You are not broken because you feel isolated. Loneliness is not a reflection of your lack, but a sign that you are strong enough to face your inner world. The fifth step, building a new connection with the world. Once you have rebuilt yourself from within, it's time to build new connections. Not from a place of desperation, but from a place of strength and wholeness. Musashi's philosophy emphasizes self-reliance, but it also acknowledges the importance of understanding the world around you. After years of introspection, Musashi understood the value of observing the world without judgment. He didn't isolate himself in a way that shut him off from others. He connected with the world on his own terms, making sure his actions were aligned with his inner wisdom. You too can rebuild your connections with others, not because you need them to complete you, but because you choose them to add value to your life. You don't have to face the world alone forever, but when you are whole within yourself, you can choose who you allow into your life and build relationships that truly nourish you. The final step, live with purpose. The last step in the path to restoration is living with purpose. Musashi didn't waste his time. He had a clear mission: to master the way of the sword, to understand the world, and to live his life with honor. You too can live with purpose. But first, You must understand what truly matters to you. What is the legacy you want to leave? What is the impact you want to have on the world? This doesn't mean you need to change the world in grand ways. It means you must find what gives you meaning and live each day with intention. The only reason a warrior fights is for the peace of the world. Miyamoto Musashi. By living with purpose, you find a deeper sense of peace. You discover that, through the quiet rebuild, you've come to understand your true calling. You are not defined by your loneliness. You are defined by how you rise from it, how you learn, grow, and choose to live a life of purpose. This is the path Musashi walked, a path that led him from isolation to wisdom, from loneliness to self-realization. And it's a path that you, too, can walk. If you found value in this video, please like, share, and subscribe for more inspiring reflections on how we can all find peace and purpose in our own lives.